Bonsoir French 203 students, bienvenue au vidéo 5 du chapitre 7. So welcome to video 5 of chapter 7. It's really hard to believe it's already video 5 already. So we're definitely making some progress through our chapter. So you can see the topic of this lesson is les verbes réciproques au présent. Okay, so basically it just means reciprocal verbs in the present tense. Sometimes grammar terms can sound a little bit intimidating, or the words are like words we wouldn't use in our everyday lives. So a reciprocal verb, just to put it into layman's terms, I guess you could say, is just actions that people do together or they do to each other back and forth. And there are lots of actions that we do like that every day. In English, it's the same way. Okay, so when we talked about reflexive verbs before, these are very similar to the reciprocal verbs. Reflexive verbs are used when someone is doing something to or for himself or herself. So an example I have referred to a few times already is je me lave les mains. So I'm washing my own hands. I'm referring to myself. Je me lave le visage. I'm washing my face. So I'm doing something to myself on my own body. And when we talk about reciprocal actions, it's a little bit similar, except that now instead of doing the action to yourself or you doing it to somebody else, people are kind of doing this to each other. So as an example, I'm looking at the first one, the first verb we see here, s'aimer, which is to like each other or to love each other. I can easily use this in a non-reciprocal or a non-reflexive way. I can say, j'aime les livres. Oh, I like the books, or I like books in general. So I like something else. The action is coming from me and I'm projecting it onto something else. I could say, je déteste les livres. No, I could never say that, right? As an English professor too, and languages in general. Je ne déteste pas les livres. I have to correct it now, just so it sounds right. So I do not hate books. And I could say, let's see, we'll choose one from the other side. Je regarde mes amis. And I'll make them feminine friends. So, je regarde mes amis. I look at them. So in all those cases, I'm using those verbs to talk about what I am doing, and there's an object to those verbs. So, j'aime what? J'aime quoi? J'aime les livres. Je ne déteste pas les livres. What do I not hate? Les livres. Je regarde quoi? Mes amis. Okay, so in all those cases, these are non-reciprocal, they're non-reflexive. I'm the one doing the action. Okay, we can also have reflexive verbs. I can say, for example, je me marie demain matin. So I'm getting married tomorrow morning. Well, that's not possible because I'm already married, but I just want to show you an example of a reflexive verb. So marier has to be reflexive. You can't say je marie demain matin. Je me marie demain matin. I'm basically marrying myself off to somebody else. Okay, so that's one where I would have to use the reflexive. Okay, so if we're talking about reciprocal, we can use any of these verbs in a reciprocal way, but we need two people. We have to have two people involved. It can't just be me. So I could say les amis se disputent. So the friends are arguing. No, they are arguing together. They're doing it to each other, so it has to be reciprocal. Okay, I could say les copains s'embrassent. Okay, so the boyfriend and girlfriend or the couple s'embrassent. They kiss each other. I could also say, to make it even clearer, I could say les amants the lovers kiss. They kiss each other. So that's why we have the little S apostrophe. And since we're talking about more than one person, we're using the form of the verb that goes with that. And in fact, that has to be an E. Okay, so les amis se disputent, les amants s'embrassent. Or I could say, les filles s'entendent. So the girls get along. Or I could say, les filles s'entendent bien. The girls get along well with each other. I could use a couple of verbs from the other side. I could say, let's see, les amis, or let's use some names. Marie et Paul se retrouvent au café. So that means they met, they planned meeting. So here it says to meet by design, so it means that they set this up. They intentionally set up a meeting. Marie et Paul se retrouvent au café. Or I could say Marie et Paul se téléphonent. So they're calling each other. So maybe one's calling, the other one's calling, they're crossing lines there. I could say Marie et Paul se regardent. So they're looking at each other. It could be for many reasons. Let's say, I could say Marie et Paul se quittent. It means they left each other. And I can even say Marie et Paul se marient. So they are getting married. Okay, so you can see I can take any one of these verbs. I can use that reflexive se or reciprocal se. I use the third person plural conjugation of the verb that goes along with the plural subject, Marie et Paul. And now I can say what they're doing to each other. All right, let's take a look at the next slide where we see one specific verb here, and that is the verb s'entendre. So entendre is an RE verb, and it's a regular verb. So here you'll see how to do a conjugation of a regular verb ending in RE. And so it becomes je m'entends, and you'll notice the nasal vowel sounds there, en, je m'entends, tu t'entends, il s'entend, or elle s'entend, on s'entend. Up here, we see kind of like a double pronoun, two pronouns that look the same in a row. Nous nous entendons, so notice that there's a liaison here. Vous vous entendez, ils s'entendent, elles s'entendent. Okay. So, as we can see, most verbs indicating actions done to other people can be used reciprocally. So, if we see a verb like retrouver quelqu'un, we just saw that on the previous slide, so that's like an intentional meeting between people, kind of like finding each other, I guess, after you've set up a meeting. So, je retrouve Jim au café. So I met up with Jim at the cafe. I think meet up is probably a really good translation of that verb, because if we say meet, it could be by chance, maybe. If you say meet up, it sounds a little more intentional. So maybe that's a good translation for this verb. Se retrouver means to meet each other. As soon as you've added this reflexive pronoun here, now we're talking about a reciprocal action. So, nous nous retrouvons souvent au café. Okay, so I'll ask you to do a little bit of practice here. Who do you meet and where? So you can say je retrouve. You can fill in the blank with a person that you would meet up with, and then think about a place where you might normally meet that person. So je retrouve Marie au musée. Je retrouve ma sœur à la maison. Je retrouve Jean à la bibliothèque. There's many possibilities. You can say the sentence or you can write the sentence. So I'll give you a chance to do that here. Okay, so in the next sentence, you can also practice playing around with this one a little bit. You can keep nous nous retrouvons, we meet each other, but you can change souvent to something else. You could say jamais, nous nous retrouvons jamais au musée, nous nous retrouvons jamais à la maison, so you can substitute souvent. You could say nous nous retrouvons rarement au café, so we meet each other rarely at the cafe or the museum or wherever you want to choose. Nous nous retrouvons de temps en temps, parfois, quelquefois. So there's all different kinds of adverbs you could use there, and they're adverbs because they're describing frequency, like how often you do that action, which is meeting up with somebody. So I'll give you a chance to try this. I'll give you a quick example first. Nous nous retrouvons jamais au musée. So that's my creation. So how about you? Okay, we'll look at just one more aspect of this, and this is les verbes réfléchis et réciproques au futur immédiat. So again, it's a lot of words, but all this means is reflexive or reciprocal verbs in the immediate future. The immediate future is nothing more than going to in English. When people learn English, they also learn this as a way to express future. So we can say will, like I will go or I will study. You can also say I am going to go or I'm going to study. And going to is like a little more like right now. I'm going to do that this second. Whereas will is a little bit later on maybe. So that's why it's called the immediate future. So this is a useful construction in French too. So we can use aller plus an infinitive to form the immediate future. Like, je vais aller au musée. I am going to go to the museum. Je vais aller à mes cours. I'm going to go to my classes. Okay, so you can see the verb aller, which is one of the most common and useful verbs in French. It's conjugated right here for you. Je vais, tu vas, il, elle, on va, nous allons, vous allez, here the liaison, ils, elles vont. Okay, so with the reflexive verb or the reciprocal verb, if you add that on to the conjugation of aller, what you're basically getting is I am going to get up. You are going to get up. He, she, we are going to get up, etc. So you're basically just taking that reflexive or reciprocal verb and you're just transforming it to something you're going to do very soon from now, in the near future. So down here, je ne vais pas me lever tôt. So they decided to put ne pas here. You could simply say je vais me lever tôt. So I am going to get up early. But of course, if you want to make this negative, you do have to put ne and pas somewhere, right? So in this case, I can put it in a different color so it kind of stands out a little bit. Okay, so you can see what it would look like without ne and pas. So where does ne and pas go in this case? It goes around the conjugated verb. Je vais, je ne vais pas. Okay, je vais me lever tôt. I'm going to get up early. Je ne vais pas me lever tôt. I am not going to get up early. Okay, over here you could say, here they don't actually have a form of aller. It's nous aimons nous retrouver au café. So we like to meet up at the cafe. You could easily substitute aller here too. You could say nous allons nous retrouver au café. We are going to meet at the cafe. Okay, so you can answer one question here for me. The answer to that question is either je vais me lever tôt or je ne vais pas me lever tôt. So the question I will ask you in the interaction is, est-ce que vous allez vous lever tôt? So are you going to get up early? And you can tell me either Je vais me lever tôt or je ne vais pas me lever tôt. I know my answer to that question would probably be je ne vais pas me lever tôt because I don't like to wake up too early. I think most people probably don't though, right? Okay, so I will leave you with that question to answer. And that will conclude our topic for this video. So a little bit more about reflexive and reciprocal verbs. So I wish you bonne chance cette semaine, good luck this week, et à la prochaine.